What?
I know that you're on the
Good
agenda.
evening, and welcome to the City Council meeting of Tuesday, June the 9th. Thank you for your attendance. And Madam Clerk, would you read the roll call, please?
Mr. Shiland,
Present.
Mr. Moore,
Present.
Ms. Pace Snook,
Present.
Mrs. Reclue,
Present.
Mr. Shibadecker,
Here.
Mr. West.
Here.
6 council members present, 2 absent.
You'd all rise with me. Pastor Williamson is with us this evening. He'll lead us with the invocation. Thank you for joining us.
Great to be here. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for a beautiful day after the rains of the last 10 or 12 days. It's refreshing, Lord, to see our fields and crops abound, and you've really blessed us with this wonderful weather. In light of the thanks from us, there's many parts of our nation that are rebounding and recovering from storms, from floods. And Lord, overseas in Nepal, we want to be faithful to remember the folks that are still under stress and siege from the earthquake. Lord, we pray that in all areas that you'll be close to these folks and keep them encouraged. Thank you again for the wonderful community that we live in, where you let us work and prosper and raise our families and love our neighbors. It is a gift from heaven. We pray for this session tonight and all of those that will be here to share in it. And I'm grateful, Lord, for the harmony by which this community works together for a greater good. I pray for our mayor and our council persons, department heads and administrators, and all those who work together to make this the community that it is. As I finish this prayer tonight, I ask your blessings on this session, that you'll be right here in the midst of the discussions and any and all decisions that will be rendered. Finally, I continue to pray for the health needs of Mr. Chiland and Ms. Reclue, Mayor Benton and Chief Myers, Bill Laswell and Gabriel, and any and all others that we have on our hearts. Deeply grateful are we all. We give you praise and thanks for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. At the beginning of our council meeting, we set aside a time for anyone that's present that's not already on the agenda to come forward and address the council about a concern they may have within the community. We just ask you to give us your name and address and limit your comments to about 5 minutes. So at this point, is there anyone present who would like to address the council? If so, please come forward now. Seeing no one coming forward, we'll move on. Thank you. To new business. We have a request from the Crop Hunger Walk for a route, or to allow them to have the Crop Hunger Walk on October the 11th. Anyone present who wants to address that? Okay. Do you have the route, Madam Clerk? Is that in our packets?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is there any questions on the annual Crop Hunger Walk? I'm sorry, I do have it here.
Well, since the note says no law enforcement need, I take the chief approved the walk.
Yeah. I think so.
If anybody has no objections, I move to approve their.
I second that. Oh.
Very good, thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve the annual Crop Hunger Walk for October the 11th. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
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 All those opposed, no. Okay, very good, thank you. We now have turn our attention to permission request from the Fulton Country Club for their annual 4th of July fireworks display. I believe we have in attendance Mr. LaRue and Mr. James. Would you all like to address the council on that?
I think they kind of look shady.
Please
to
come
me.
forward. Good to have you all.
Do they?
Yeah.
You bet. Good to be here.
Thank you.
Just wanted to, before I have Mr. LaRue give you the facts and figures, I just want to say that the Fulton Country Club has appreciated over the years the help from the city of Fulton, and I think over many years we've been able to together put on a very nice fireworks display at the Fulton Country Club. And saying that, today we're going to approach City Council and hopefully you all will favor a request for 50% of the cost of the fireworks. And without much more ado, I'm going to ask Dale to kind of go over the cost and what we have on the down payment so far and go from there.
Thank you. This year's cost of the fireworks, we have had an increase. The total is $4,900. $430 of that is insurance, event insurance, of which the city of Fulton is on that policy as additional insured for $1 million. We pay shooter's fee to the J&M Fireworks Company provide people to shoot the fireworks, and that is $310. And then our freight is $160. That makes the fireworks a total of $4,000, but the total is $4,900. In the past, we have had merchants and businesses in town to also contribute. And like I said, this year, I think last year it was like 4,400 thereabouts. The country club has been doing this for many years. It's more of a community project than it is the country club. So we would appreciate your help. And as Charlie said, we would propose 50%. We have approximately, I would say, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20-some additional businesses that do contribute also. And are there any questions?
How will this display compare to last year? I heard a lot of raises.
This is the same display. Okay. We've pretty much had the same display. We did add a grand finale. I think it was $200, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. How much do we have budgeted? I know we've got some, thought we did anyway, budget for this.
I don't think it's ever really been budgeted.
I think it just comes out of the council discretion.
Yeah, discretionary fund, right.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's a good thing for the community. People look forward to it. They start gathering over there early that morning trying to find the best seats. And
they come to the park and have a picnic and then sit there.
Yeah, and then they stay right there for the, so I mean.
They come on to St. Peter's grounds too, right there.
Oh, yes, they cover the.
I recommend approval.
Second. Does that include the money?
Includes money.
So is my second.
And the money's at 50%?
Yes.
50% of the.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to authorize the Fulton Country Club to fire the fireworks on July the 4th, and the city will absorb 50% of the $4,900 cost. Is there any further discussion of that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, no. Very good. We look forward to the.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
You
you.
have the weather scheduled right too?
Oh, it's like a snow day.
It's going to rain fireworks. Okay, we'll move on to unfinished business. I think our stormwater presenters left us, and we'll finish that in the work session. So unless there's a question from the council side that you thought about, we're going to move on. The update on the warehouse facility. Mr. Bremer, you have something there you'd like to share?
For the folks at home, I'd like to introduce Kyle Bremer. Kyle Bremer for the past, 10 years?
Yeah.
Has been the Assistant City Engineer for the City of Fulton. For the time being, he is going to be the acting interim city engineer while we go through the selection process to look for a new city engineer. So Kyle's offered, we talked, and he's going to step up and assume that position until such time as we have to find a replacement. So if you'd like to talk about the warehouse facility.
Yeah, sure. I know a lot of you up here, and plan to continue to work hard for the city in this new role for the time being. And with that said, I'll talk about the warehouse.
That's kind of one thing that we did talk about while we were discussing whether you wanted to step up was, regardless of how upset I may get with him as the interim city city engineer, I will always love him as an assistant city engineer. He will not affect or jeopardize that position at all. Okay, that's your time.
Thank you, Bill.
You're already grabbing the podium.
The podium.
Yeah, yeah. She's gonna be here a while.
Carolyn, is
look
that?
out. She's like, I warned you.
All right, I better start talking about the warehouse. You guys are going to continue.
Good idea.
That's his third time.
All right, as far as the warehouse goes, administration building, the floor's been poured in the basement, interior stud walls are complete. Let's see, I know that we're going to start drywalling on Thursday on the admin building. And, this week there's been discussions about security on the doors and everything else, and what type of security and how they're going to be programmed and all that kind of thing. So they're pretty well got those decisions made, and like I said, drywall on Thursday. So that should be nice to see things starting to get covered up. But on the warehouse purchasing facility, I know that they're ready to pour that floor, and so that hopefully we can get that going at some point before the weekends. Also on the call-out building, they're roofing the call-out building. All the other outbuildings, truck facilities. I know the electric department, Daryl's guys are out there doing the wiring for those. Any questions?
As of the most recent pay request, we just crossed the 50% mark. I think it was 50 to 53% of the eligible funds they had requested. But they got every building on site and erected. They got all the concrete in. So a lot of those great big capital items have been expended. Now they just got a lot of the finish work to do. I'd like to throw out, Leroy and I have been out there and kind of walked the property a couple of times. If any of you would like a tour of the property, just let us know. We'll set you up and we'll get you out there and show you around a little bit.
Wait till it rains, it's a lot of fun.
You probably should wait until it dries up.
Yeah.
Leroy and I weren't quite that smart on one of the trips. You have to walk a long way to just get a little bit muddy. So if it dries up, it would be a nice walk. I'll show you off.
Very good, thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. Okay. We'll move on to resolutions, and our first resolution has to do with the City of Fulton guaranteeing a loan for the Brick District the Brick Street Playhouse Grant. Mrs. Debbie LaRue is with us this evening, and again, I apologize for not getting to you in the work session, but if you'd like to come forward this time and talk a little bit about what we're trying to do here and the goals, et cetera, and then after that we'll go over presenting the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I would like to say thank you on behalf of the Brick District Playhouse Board for your cooperation and your teamwork your interest in the project over the past 6 months or so. I think we will all agree that we have a common interest with the Historic Theater. It's hard to walk down the street and talk to anybody about the theater who doesn't have a memory. You might not, but.
I do.
Okay, all right. So I think we all recognize the potential as an anchor facility for the Brick District, as well as a cultural center. Thank you. As well as a cultural center for for Fulton and the surrounding communities. Since assuming the control of the theater back about 6 months or so ago, we've learned two significant things. One, the importance of the theater to the community. It really has a lot of potential to the community. We can move forward on a roll like we have been, or we can step back. The hurdles, there are hurdles there, no doubt. We can step back from those hurdles, put our hands up, and walk away. But I don't think that's the best interest. The board does not feel that that's in the best interest of the community. So we've chosen to dig in, increase our efforts, encourage teamwork with those that are willing, and do what we can to make this happen. So, with that being said, we appreciate your time to come forward this evening, and now let's get to work. In your packets, you all received a proposal. I trust everyone has had time to review. It looked like this.
Awesome.
It's a really good proposal. Can I ask a question?
I'm sorry?
Can I ask a question?
Yes?
I know there's talk about putting a cafe up front. You've already got a tenant for that, which is a great idea. If at some point you get to open the theater section, what's gonna be the entrance way? Is it gonna have to go through the cafe, or is there another entrance?
Yeah, it would go through the cafe. In the front area, the front area is totally gutted, except for the historic walls. Those are still in place. But what we're thinking now is when you walk in the front door on the right is more the restaurant area. And then on the left side is more of a seating area, a lounge seating area.
Okay.
The way it's designed now, it would be open for gatherings. Let's say there's a play or a concert or gospel sing or something going on in the actual theater part. The front area would lend for people to mingle, socialize while they're waiting or in between.
Gotta have intermission.
Intermission, that's right. That's right.
Debbie, is any of this open to walk through and take a look at it?
Yes, individually or small groups.
Right.
We cannot take large groups in at this time because we don't have the sprinkler system yet.
So if a few of us want to do
But
something?
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. We would welcome you. You can even go up into the balcony. It is cleaned out now so that the balcony area, it's safer to walk through there. It was not at all.
Is
But
the
it is
balcony
now.
ADA accessible?
Probably not
No,
right now.
upstairs is not?
Not right now.
I'm not carrying you up there, Wayne.
Bill will.
You can't do it yet. Bill
We'll take a
can.
video for you. So you have the
Sorry,
packet with all of the information.
Yes.
That includes pictures, building plans, cost of improvements, the USDA loan proposal, information regarding a proposed restaurant, which we are proposing to be the Brick District Bistro. So you've all had time to review, right?
Yep.
Okay.
If it's in here, I didn't see it. The theater, how many will that seat when they get ready to?
I don't know. Right
That's
now,
what I said, I
the
didn't-
floor is
yeah.
wide open.
Right.
There's no seating in the flooring, so it would depend a great deal on how it is set up.
I guess I was wondering how big of a show you could put on.
Just have to wait and see.
Well, when I stopped to think about the size of Delaney at William Woods, not quite that big, and that will hold right at about 300.
And it starts to how would it compare with Blue Note and Fulton in Columbia?
I can't really answer that. I've not been
Okay, I'm just.
for many
yeah.
years, and I know they've renovated since I was
Yeah,
last
oh, yeah.
there. So, and then the balcony, and again, depending on how many seats we can save in the balcony, I'm going to guess at least 300, and that is a guess, but there's possibility for kind of a dinner theater area up on the balcony and the mezzanine area, which would be pretty cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so with that, we would like to continue renovations by borrowing $200,000 from the FADC relending program at the lowest possible interest rate, and we are asking the city to guarantee the debt of the loan. Now, if you will look, Tom Riley has prepared some loan specifics. Mr. Mayor, may I present these to you? These are specifics regarding the loan that Tom has put together for you. I will try to entertain questions, but I will be very honest with you. Tom's the one that put these together, and he knows them kind of like the back of his hand. I will also move along just a bit and ask that you look at the last page of the proposal, and you'll see our conclusion. The Brick District Playhouse directors believe we have a plan to accomplish substantial renovation of the theater now and the reopening of the building later this year, which will save the structure and allow us more time and opportunity to complete the improvements to the stage, the auditorium, and the balcony in the next year or two. In order to complete this plan, however, the Brick District Playhouse needs assistance to secure the loan from FADC. FADC is seeking a guarantor so that it can pass on the below market cost of funds, which is essential to the success of this project. While the FADC can rely on this, I don't need to read this to you. It's right there in front of you. But bottom line, what we would like to say to you, again, we thank you for the teamwork and the interest that you've given to us over the past 6 months or so towards this project. It's a big project. But you know, when you stop to look at the rendering that we have, it has potential to be an appealing site for us in our downtown area, which will also help to bring people not only to Fulton, but maybe keep them overnight. Right now, what we're faced with is we don't have a lot of evening events that will help them put the heads in the beds to, you know, get a little bit more of the revenue from that. So,
Debbie, where's the revenue going to come from to pay for this loan?
okay, so with the restaurant,
The restaurant you think is going to
the restaurant will, yes, we'll start with that. Now, as we are able to get the auditorium, all of that area opened, there's more revenue that will come with the different events that we can hold there. The Westminster and William Wood students are excited about this. I mean, they've even been down and helped us.
Good.
One day they were there were 24 Westminster students there. They lifted pianos, they shoveled a lot of stuff, let's just say.
Good.
They're interested in it. So I think just the ability to offer it to people within the community, rent it, or have different events that we would charge, that would definitely help to pay for it. Now, you'll notice in the specifics of the loan, what we are asking initially is a 2% loan for up to 30 years. Interest only the first 3 years. Certainly would negotiate a 10-year balloon. So within that time, we would be building revenue sources.
And then I understand from Mr. Riley, you will continue to emphasize your fundraising and efforts to continue on
We
with
will.
the renovation of the rest of the theater.
We will. We've been very fortunate. We've not really done any fundraising to date, and we've had $30,000 come in the door. People are seeing what we're doing, and they like it. We've had anonymous donations that have come in the door, so we appreciate those very much. But, you know, for us to go into the community with a campaign and really do a hard sell on fundraising. The Playhouse is not something we absolutely have to have. United Way. The United Way is an agency that we need in this community. And we need to do fundraising and support the fundraising that's done by the United Way.
Definitely.
We can't compete with that. We shouldn't compete with that. So we'll find other resources in order to try to make this happen.
Good point.
Yes, sir.
Mrs. LaRue, thank you. I'm reading what's been done so far, and I know in the past, tuck pointing of the brick has been an issue. Am I to read here that that's been completed?
That has not been completed just yet. It is to a point, though, where Kent Glover of GloveCon Construction and his team feel that can wait a little longer while we're doing some of the other. Okay. As we get the appropriate funds needed, then you bet we'll go in and finish that. But right now, Kent's comfortable that we're okay with where we are.
Okay. I see this as an economic development tool. It's another thing that improves the standard of living in town, and it's tourism, which is good money.
Yes.
Like you said, heads in the beds. If they can stay overnight, if they go to the theater and stay overnight, or if the college kids come down and spend a few dollars just to watch a stand-up comedian or something, whatever.
We agree. We agree with you, Mike. The more we can bring people to town and encourage them to have a good experience, the more they're going to want to come back. When we have people come to our community to look over Westminster or William Woods, whether they be a professor, a part of the administration, or students or parents, if they receive a good experience while they're here, they're going to feel more comfortable with sending their son or daughter back here, spending another 4 years here. When they come back to see those kids, they'll spend more time here.
All right.
It's all an investment. It really is. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Your balloon payment in 10, are you looking at being at a point where you think you can pay it off at that point, or just making up?
No. No.
One other question, being in the restaurant business, just my opinion.
Yes, sir.
I know you're looking at because of the finances, but I believe doing a kitchen without a hood would be a mistake in the future because it's easier to put it in now than it is when you go, if this one doesn't work out and a real restaurateur comes in. You mean that limited because it wouldn't be a fryer or anything like that you can use without the hood. So I think it's something you might consider in the very beginning, and it'd be cheaper now than later.
The restaurant owner who is very interested in coming in does not feel that she needs a hood at this time, but I do hear what you're saying, and definitely will consider.
Because in that building, I believe it would be a lot cheaper at this rate early in the construction than trying to do it later. But that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially if you are considering expanding the concession area along with cafe, it might be nice to have that accessible.
Good point.
Do you have?
Okay, so noted. Thank
Are
you.
there any estimates on what it's going to full price tag is going to be on? I mean, not just what we're talking about here, but to get it up, the whole building up and running. Any idea?
A lot.
A lot.
You're honest.
I've heard that number
and
before.
Mike, it depends on what we can do. Now, we have been pleasantly pleased with, once we've gotten in there and we've really cleaned it out, it's not, yes, it needs some work, but it's not in near the bad shape that we knew it could have been. It's not. It has a lot of potential. The floors are slanted, and there's a name for that, but there are different things that we can do there. We can have seating on either side. We can have places to dine. Well, depending on all of that is going to depend on the cost, et cetera. The mezzanine area that I mentioned earlier. That's really cool. Have you been to the Fox Theater?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not talking quite that.
But
I just want
But
the
Callaway
stained glass
County
ball.
style.
I just want that stained glass ball that's there.
Yeah.
I was 6 years old first time I went.
Were you? So you have lots of memories of it,
Yeah.
though.
That's a long
Yeah.
time.
And honestly, I think people who grew up in Fulton or Callaway County, they think of our theater with fond memories as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anything? Yes.
the Art House has just shown such a wonderful support. I mean, just it's needed here in the community, this type of thing. We evidently need this type of thing, and I just think it's wonderful the direction you're going.
Thank you.
In my opinion.
And Mary, I think community is supporting it. The Art House is definitely being supported, not only by our community and our county, but areas around. And I think we see the Brick District Playhouse as being more of a performing arts venue.
Yes. Exactly.
Anything else, Mr. Mayor?
Don't think so at this point. Any other questions for Ms. LaRue?
Okay.
Again-
Thank you very much for allowing us to be here and for considering.
Thank you very much.
Well, I talked to Tom Riley earlier this afternoon. And just the question that just needs to be asked is, are you interested in what terms? Because those are going to be the two questions that are going to be discussed in the resolution. And you need to stick around for that, please.
I will.
Thank you, dear.
And read the resolution that was at your table, not the one that was in your packet.
Right.
The one that's got the green star above it, that's
Yes.
the one you look at.
Green stuff.
Get right here.
Yours doesn't have it, because I put yours in your packet before I put the star.
There's a star.
I thought it was different than one I read earlier. Okay, very good. But sure, you know, and again, that if the council would elect to just say, okay, we have a lot of stuff here. We could guarantee it for the 10 years, and, you know, reevaluate it at the end of 10 years, or, and like the 2%, again, I think the government is charging the FADC 1% for the money, so they need to make sure they're whole, but again, we could, you know, with our investments, Kathy, do we get even 0.5% off of our money? If we invested $200,000, what would you expect? A quarter?
We get how much?
And a quarter and a half.
Maybe 1/4%.
Yeah. Quarter and a half.
So we could say, okay, we want 1/4% for guaranteeing the loan, which then would give the FADC, you know, they'd pay their 1%, but give them 0.75% to help meet their operating expenses.
Right.
And that's the way it's all pretty much designed. Yeah, it's designed, or that loan program is designed for businesses that do not necessarily meet banking compliance.
Regulations.
And for loans on the regular market, although since I don't quite understand in one way why they're wanting us to guarantee this, because I'm sure any bank in town would loan them the money if we would guarantee the loan. So, but anyway, you know, we can't deal with the FADC loan committee, but you know, Tom's moving on. So, if you authorize or agree to back the loan, there's no doubt about it, they'll get it, I'm sure, from some lending institution in town. If, you know, whether if it's not even the FADC, but the FADC is where they're trying to go right now, because that was one of the reasons they went after those monies. So, any other questions?
So I guess the biggest question is if we're guaranteeing the loan, if it would default, does ownership default to the city?
Do you want it?
I don't know, not really.
Do you want? I can see you taking tickets.
I don't expect that to happen, but
No.
Did you read this at the bottom?
I think
Yeah.
all we're
She
doing
handed
is the
out?
way it's set up
According to
is,
this, it would be so.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're not talking about ownership. We would just end up
No.
having to pay whatever the balance of the loan is.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think we
Yeah,
owe
I
it
don't
to
think
our-
we're looking at any collateral. Because in this case, as Ms. LaRue indicated, I think the collateral is way more expensive than the $200,000.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
So-
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I've always argued the theater was a good project and we need to do something with it, so I guess I can't say no. So I would make a recommendation that we go to 30 years with them.
Okay, well, let's take, it sounds to me like we're at the point where we need Councilman Shilen to present this thing, and then we can get into discussion of specifics on the note. So if you'd please present it.
Do you want it read just like it is, or are we going to have to make a decision before I read it? Okay,
Let's just do it by title only,
got it.
and then we'll amend it if we need to.
Resolution 3236, a resolution of the City of Fulton authorizing the mayor on behalf of the City of Fulton to sign all necessary documents to guarantee the Brick Street Playhouse loan through the Fulton Area Development Corporation and establish an effective date. I move that Resolution 3236 be voted on at tonight's meeting.
Second.
Very good, thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 3236. The resolution is now open for discussion. So you had something there again, Mr. Moore, if you want to restate that.
I felt like if we're gonna do it, we might as well go with the 30 years with and not reevaluate it in 10 years, because some of us probably won't be here in 10 years, so. Let's go with the
30.
30.
It says that in section 1,
Okay.
2% over 30 years.
Do we need to discuss the different interests that you all were talking about?
Yeah, sure. I think if we want to, again, I think Mr. Raleigh would probably have to renegotiate that again with the FADC, but, you know, we can tell him whatever you think. If you, that way, the only thing I was thinking is at least the citizens are guaranteeing, but they at least get a return on their money if we invested it someplace else, so, or in CDs, which is basically what we do.
So we're trying to decide now, do we want a 0.5% or a 1/4% or?
Yeah.
Or can we leave that up to negotiation?
Well,
Eddie.
I talked to Bruce quite a while this afternoon of the FADC. And I think the negotiation on the interest charged by the FADC will be up to the FADC and the Brick District. Okay? I think, based on what I talked to Bruce about this afternoon, if you want a percentage of the guarantee, you need to say what percentage you want so that they know what the city's expectations are, and that will allow them to negotiate from that point.
Well,
It still may stay at 2%. The FADC would get 1% to cover the loan, and they would have 0.5% to go towards their future requirements. Or they could negotiate a different rate. But that's going to be up to the FADC and the Brick District Playhouse.
Don't we need to look at what we would normally draw on that $200,000 versus what we can draw on it with them? The difference in
Could Kathy?
Well, but yes and no.
I mean,
I think if you're going to go out, based on what Steve was saying, you know, a 30-year right now.
Right.
But, you know, the 1/4% she's talking about is 2015.
Kathy, could you come to the mic?
Yes, I'd love to hear
I'm sorry, I can't hear
Kathy's.
you at all.
She's got a little finance guy.
Yes, I haven't put any money out this year, but we have some investments, and that's what they're making from last year, and we typically will invest for a year at a time.
A year at a time.
And strictly, you know, low-risk investments.
But we're not actually putting out any money here.
No.
So,
Yeah.
That's one of the nice things about doing it in this fashion.
Right,
Doing the
exactly.
guarantee.
It's the
Yeah,
city
we don't
that's-
have to worry about any cash
Right.
unless it's defaulted.
Steve
Mayor?
Moore?
Yes.
If they want to charge, I don't care, but why don't we just let the FADC and the Brick District take whatever they work out, their 2% of all that, and if they want to charge, we just take 1,000 off a year what we pay to FADC, because if we're going to make the money, we can just take it back that way and be a cleaner deal.
It's too, you know, we have a water fund, we have a gas fund, and we have an electric fund.
Yeah.
That's like saying we're going to take money from the electric fund because of a water issue. The loan on that they would be getting here is a separate pot of money with its own set of books versus the FADC normal annual operating budget. So I understand exactly what you're saying, but it kind of doesn't work.
Yeah, you're hurting their ability to pay their bills
Right.
and pay their people if you take it out of their operating budget. This way, let them negotiate on the interest part, because that is already funded by the loan fund that they have sitting there. So all the expenses will be associated with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, but I still, well, okay.
I have one more question.
Sure.
For Mrs. Holslag. We don't have any issue with this much bonding capacity, do we?
I'm sorry?
We don't have any issue with this much bonding capacity or having this kind of money to, if it would default, to cover?
No.
Well,
Are you asking if we can afford it?
Yes.
Yes, we can afford it.
we can afford it.
What I thought, but I want to hear it, you know.
Yes,
Yeah, makes you feel better.
yes, the city will still be solid.
I think the only thing we'll have to do is report it, or the auditor will address it every year that we do this. And that'll be about it.
Yeah, it'll have to be a note disclosure.
We still meet your payroll and all that.
Yes, yes. Barely, but we're scraping by money.
Okay, we still got the money, okay.
I think the last check just in reference, the last check I signed to the contractor out at the, on the warehouse complex was well over $300,000.
Yeah.
$386,422. As a matter, approximately.
Yeah, to the penny. She knows.
So,
Okay.
so we're good.
Yes.
I'd like to make a comment.
I want to
Just-
hear it for the people.
We're looking at this as a 30-year investment.
Yeah.
Half a percent is not that big a deal. I think we ought to go ahead and go for the 0.5%.
Okay. Well, hopefully interest rates will go up.
Well, you know they're going to.
Sure.
I mean, they're already talking about it. So
Okay.
0.25% today, 30 years from now, 0.5% is probably going to be nothing. So
Okay, someone, let's pin it down into a motion so we can, I have some
already-
direction on what you want.
Right.
You got one motion on the floor
Yeah, we
with
got
the
a motion on the
resolution.
floor.
Okay,
What was it?
Okay, can we addend them?
To pass the resolution.
Pass the resolution.
Or you
As
want
is.
to just have a separate motion?
So there is a motion on the floor, but, so the motion would be to amend the
Combine it.
resolution to read, and I guess the two numbers that Carolyn needs to make the resolution accurate would be the amount that the city is willing to guarantee and the interest that the city's looking for as a cost of the guarantee.
motion, we do the 0.5% for the full amount of the 200,000 over the 30-year period.
Oh, 30 years. Okay, that's the amendment. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's 0.5% and 200,000. I did hear a second from Mr. Moore. Okay, thank you. We're good. I have a motion and a second to amend the resolution to include the 200,000 guarantee at 0.5% for the city. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
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 Very good, thank you. All those opposed, no. Let's,
Now
okay.
you-
Let's move on to the
Okay. Well, we
approving
got-
the
now you need to
resolution.
vote on
No,
the
right.
resolution as amended.
Right.
So,
No, because you already got a motion,
We
a
already
second
have the
from two different
resolution,
council
yeah.
people that made the motion for this. So you're gonna have to do them both separate. Now you can just pass the resolution,
there you go.
because you already had a motion and a second.
You got it.
I have a
Did we vote on the
motion on the floor for Resolution 3236 to pass. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Clean it up.
That's right. Clean it up.
Thank you again, Ms. LaRue. And one more time, I apologize for asking you to come and sit through that stunning stormwater.
Good. Now you understand stormwater.
Or you can
Okay.
stay if you want to.
Thanks, Debbie.
Oh,
I just texted Riley.
okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
Debbie.
you.
Let's move on to ordinances now. First reading ordinances. We have bill number 1424, which is an ordinance that has to do with the annual disclosure requirements. Councilman West is the presenter of this ordinance. If you'd please present it by title only, please.
Absolutely. Bill number 1424, ordinance number blank. An ordinance of readopting ordinance 938-03, enacting Chapter 2, Administration, Article 1, in general, Sections 2-9 through 2-13, pertaining to the annual financial disclosure requirement and establishing an effective date. I move that bill number 1424 be passed to second reading at the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Second.
Very good. I have a motion and a second to advance bill number 1424 for consideration at the next council meeting. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no.
Yes.
We'll now move on to bill number 1425, which is an ordinance that has to do with parking on certain streets. Councilman Moore, if you would please present 1425.
Resolution 1425, an ordinance amending Chapter 17, Motor Vehicles Traffic, Order 6, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, Division 1, Generally Section 17-260. Parking on certain streets prohibited or limited, Fulton City Code, by adding street and establishing effective date. I move this for second reading at the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to advance bill 1425 at the next council meeting. Any further discussion on this motion? I notice this is at the request of William Woods, is that correct?
Yep.
It's the one that Greg presented at the last meeting, went through the traffic commission on 12th Street.
There's no parking on the south side of 12th Street through White Campus.
All
Yeah.
the sororities are moving to the new dormitories that they're building, so it shouldn't be an issue with them.
Very good.
Those are going to be empty?
I don't know exactly what they plan on doing with those buildings,
They have other plans, what they said, but they didn't say what.
yeah, but
But it wouldn't be an issue.
Well, they're the ones requesting it, so.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
they got a letter from the
Yeah.
president, yeah.
They want that request.
Okay, very good. Is there any further discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. All right, very good, thank you. Move on to second reading ordinances. Bill number 1423 is an ordinance that has to do with health inspection fees. Councilman Shiverdecker, if you'd please present 1423 for second reading, please.
Yes, sir, and if nobody objects, I'll go ahead and present it for third reading tonight, too. Bill number 1423, an ordinance amending Chapter 58, Health and Sanitation by deleting Section 58-29, prior health inspection in its entirety and enacting a subsection C, inspection fees under section 58-38, frequency of inspection, and establishing an effective date. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt advance bill number 1423 for third reading at tonight's meeting.
Second.
Very good, thank you. I have a motion and a second to advance bill number 1423 for third reading. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. Thank you. We'll now consider bill number 1423 for third reading. Councilman Shiverdecker, if you'd please present that.
Yes, sir. Bill number 1423, an ordinance amending Chapter 58, Health and Sanitation by deleting Section 58-29. Prior health inspection in its entirety and enacting a subsection C, inspection fees, under Section 58-38, frequency of inspection, and establishing an effective date. Make a motion we adopt bill number 1423 for final passage at tonight's meeting.
Second.
Very good, thank you. I have a motion and a second to advance 1423 for final consideration. Is there any further discussion of that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. Thank you. Bill number 1423 has been presented to you 3 times. It's now time for final consideration. Please indicate your vote to the clerk as she reads the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Pace-Snook?
Yes.
Mrs. Reclus?
Yes.
Mr. Shiverdecker?
Yes.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Schuylen?
Yes.
6 council members affirmative, 2 absent.
Very good, thank you. We have, we'll take care of second reading ordinances. We'll now go to bill number 1422, that's for third reading. This has to do with
The street thing.
traffic stop signs and,
No, renaming.
oh, I'm sorry.
Renaming Wilds.
Renaming the street, okay, sorry about that.
Our visitors.
That's all under that code. Okay. Councilman Vaughn is scheduled to present it. He's not with us. Councilwoman Pace, would you please do that?
Bill number 1422, an ordinance renaming Ash Drive to Wilds Lane and amending Chapter 110, Traffic and Vehicles, Section 110-283, Stop Signs and Yield Signs of the Code of the City of Fulton, Missouri, by deleting Ash Drive in its entirety and establishing an effective date. I move that we adopt this for final passage tonight.
Second.
Very good, thank you. Bill number 1422 is up for final consideration. Is there any further discussion of the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, no. Okay, very good. You've heard bill number 1422 presented to you 3 times. It's now time for final vote. And would you please indicate your vote by yes or no as the clerk reads the roll?
Mrs. Pace-Snook?
Yes.
Mrs. Reclus?
Yes.
Mr. Shiverdecker?
Yes.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Schuylen?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
6 council members affirmative, 2 absent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your patience again.
And come visit us all the time. You come back.
Okay, we'll now move on to appointments. We do have one reappointment to the Fulton Housing Authority, Mr. Bobby Washington. I'd appreciate your approval of that appointment.
No objections. I move we approve the mayor's appointment.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve Bobby Washington to the Fulton Housing Authority. Is there any further discussion of the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
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 All those opposed, no.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Before you go to announcements, I like to say that to you and whoever's in charge of the signs that you're building for some of our complexes, I think they're very nice, and I like the one for the new warehouse. I was wondering while you was doing that work, if on the corner of Veterans Park on St. Louis or on that corner.
Lots of them, Steve. Lots of them. And I'm not being, I think there's going to be a total of about 27 of those signs scattered throughout the community.
Well, if you look at our city map and around when people come to town, if they skip 10th and they come from that side, it would be nice if they, right on that corner, you had that.
Who's got it? Kyle?
I think Mr. Brewer has it.
Do you have that map showing where all the signs are going to go?
But
Can you put together an electronic copy and we'll get that?
Now, for our future, bring these now.
Bring your home office.
but they really look nice, and I've had people compliment on them.
Thank you very much.
Very nice.
We're real excited about them, and think they'll be a good standard for individuals. When they see it, then they'll be able to see, they'll know it's city property and be able to hone right in on what it is.
Kyle, did they let you move into Greg's office?
I'm comfortable where I'm at
Yeah.
There you go.
I just want to let you know when you move in, the rent goes up.
Okay.
Comfort's important.
The, also under announcements, I'd like to call on council person, Mary Recluse, to give us a report last night. She and I and Mr. Johnson attended the whole summit city council meeting, and they had an informative discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Be patient, I've got a cold. Last night, Brian Crane, his city administrator, Holt Summit, invited Bill and the mayor, and I tagged along too. Had to do with retail. They were having a company from Fort Worth, Texas, speaking about retail. Mr. Miller from a Buxton company spoke about the connections and things that they offer, this company offers, to the cities to guide them in the direction that a specific city might need to bring more retail to their businesses. With the Buxton Corporation, the different data and things that they gather up together and collect for a specific city kind of gives you a roadmap to what you might want in your city or what you need in your city. We may think we need a certain thing, and by absorbing this data and taking some step back and take a look at what really would be needed in our community, this may help us moving forward towards bringing more retail into our city. Of course, there's going to be a cost to this, and there always would be. But I was very impressed with the speakers. And they did make a point that they are not realtors or anything like that. They actually call themselves recruiters of retail, okay? And Mr. Miller stated that we help get to the first yard line, but to get to the goal line, it's up to the city and the people. They offer services to partner us with businesses that we may find that the city would profit from. And basically, it was a very, very informative information last night about retail.
Thank you, Ms. Recluse. Appreciate you going along. One of the things that I took away from it, which I'm very excited about, in the past we've discussed soliciting new retail for our community, which we're in dire need of. But they do a good job of evaluating our community, our citizens, and their spending habits, et cetera. You know, they even kind of go down where they, as Bill said earlier today, whether or not you like Cuddy Shark or you know, another type of bourbon or whatever that is. Right. But you know what your drinking habits are. So they evaluate the spending habits of your community, then they marry it up with those businesses out there that are looking to expand, and they can then give you that profile. Then it's up to your community then to go to them and say, hey, we'd like to have you. This is the reasons we'd like to have you, because we fit the profile that you all serve, or the markets that you're looking at. In the past, when we've talked about retail, you know, I think we've talked about that. You go to the business and say, hey, we'd love to have you. We maybe talk about sites, but that's not really their prime focus. There's a difference between industry and retail. And So we need to talk about what kind of market we have, and they help establish that market. So anyway, just kind of wanted to let you know, I think we're going to continue to contact these folks and visit with them and expand on that. Maybe try to talk to them, you know, maybe in a joint venture with Holt Summit. So, but anyway, we'll continue to keep you informed of that.
Did they say anything about the proximity we are to Jefferson City and
Sure.
Columbia?
Very much.
But again, you know, for instance, Holt Summit, they took their market area.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
And they included Jefferson City in their market area, because I think they told them they had a population of 33,000 people or something, you know, that are
That
potential.
actually, yeah.
So, and that would, I mean, that's really true, if they had a particular business that fits them, you know. They even told them their population had X a percentage of them played golf, X percentage of them had 3 or more automobiles. And, you know, this type of thing, he'd gone through and evaluated their community. So basically all he's saying is there is discretionary funds available from your citizens to be able to buy over and above. So it really gives you a tool that's concrete, it's numbers oriented, which almost everyone's looking at that anymore. So, you know, it ends up giving you a good tool to put in your toolbox.
Right, to see what.
Moberly, Missouri, Bill talked with their city manager today, which I think is a pretty good endorsement. They've used Buxton, what'd they say, 3 years in a row?
Have they?
Yeah, so they continue to keep them on board, and I think, you know, their fee was $50,000 or something.
believe it
I've
was
forgotten what it was.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pretty good
For
chunk of
You
change.
just answered my other question.
But again, you know,
Yes.
he can sit there and point to various Jimmy John's or,
Right.
you know, different
Target,
type of
whatever,
businesses
right.
that.
Something we
that
don't
brought
have
them
that may
in.
not be in Columbia or
Or
Jefferson
we may not
City,
think that we,
And I
Yes.
think that's what he was saying to Holt Summit,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, you may be able to get this particular industry. For instance, we've talked about Walmart and how we would like to see maybe them upgrade their store because we're underserved. You know, their store
Yes, we
doesn't
are.
offer enough.
Right.
But then, you know, we got talking, well, maybe we're looking at the wrong thing. We don't need to talk to Walmart, they're already here. We need to go, once we get the statistics, go to Target and say, you know,
yeah,
come and fill this void that Walmart
don't
has,
have.
or maybe it's Joseph A. Banks or something like that, you know, so.
Whatever.
Anyway, just
Okay.
kind of whatever the numbers are indicating.
very interesting.
So that's kind of, I think the three of us came away fairly excited over that visit, and it was a great presentation, it really was, so. Thank you. Any other things that anyone would like to bring forward the council? Okay, with no further ado, I'll go for the motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Let's close it down.
Second.
Okay, very good. We have a motion for adjourn. Yes, good to
Somebody
have you
second
back,
it.
Mr. Shine. Okay. Without any further ado, we are standing adjourned.